Hi, this is Rod Gels of the Rock Band Program Podcast. With me, I have a guy that I've known probably 20 years.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's probably more than that, actually. Okay, his
Yeah.
name is Don Belch. Okay, so Don, I knew as we as a back then it was you were like the metal guitar
Yeah.
god guy. Uh, you were in really cool bands, and that was you were like you were the topper echelon of that of our area. So, but you've gone on to do great things. We're going to get to know you. I want to get to know your story, and then we want to bring you up to the present. So, uh, these are studio sessions, by the way, everybody. Because they say studio sessions, we're going to talk about Don because he's now a producer. So anyway, so let's get started with where did this all begin for you?
Actually, I started as a piano player. My my father forced me into playing classical piano, which I actually despised when I was little.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And then I actually begged him to let me play guitar. And I was about 11 years old, and I started playing guitar. And I think it wasn't until I was 14 I started taking lessons. I actually took from Rick Fling. Remember him?
I do remember. He's my best friend to this day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
To this day. So he will be glad to hear this.
I took lessons off him just for a short period of time, and then
Then you got grounded or something, right?
yeah, well, it's something. My dad, yeah, something happened, and my dad pulled me from the guitar lessons, and because I was playing wild music. I was playing classical music on piano, which he really loved. But then, I got the guitar. I was playing Black Sabbath and all that. My dad,
You come
you know,
from a religious household.
yeah,
The-
yeah.
the-
He's real laid back now, but back then, he was a little like taken back by it. And but after that, I just continued with guitar, and he totally supports me now, him and my mom. But guitar just grabbed me. But now it's funny. Now I love playing classical piano, and I love classical music.
You
That was
always
kind of,
have since I've known you.
yeah, that's my whole background. I really
Yeah.
grown.
Yeah. So you started how old were you when you got a guitar?
I was around, I think, 11
Okay.
when I started playing guitar,
So
and
how
then
long was it before you started playing with people?
pretty much right away. I tried to, bring anybody that played anything over, to my house, and even if they banged on a box,
Mhm. Yeah.
we were playing, Um, but yeah, and I had all kinds of little bands, we call ourselves bands, and just as a
Dungeon.
teenager.
I remember you were talking about
Dun-
Dungeon.
Dungeon, yeah, I was
There
in my
were bands that you were gigging.
yeah, we started gigging right at the it was right around the time when Swizzles was around and all that. That all closed up, but I got to play there, and kind of got my feet wet with recording and playing out.
So when was the first time you got into a recording studio?
Uh, it was the first time I was in a recording studio was 1991, I believe.
Okay. That at the end of the Swizzles era?
Yeah, it was somewhere around that area. I think it was 91, 92, somewhere in there.
Okay. Okay.
I think
Now,
that was, if I
okay,
remember.
you start playing guitar at 11. How long did it take you to get your bands up to the point where you were playing gigs?
I would say, I mean, when as a teenager, I I would play like a backyard party, but I didn't really consider that a real, you know what I mean, a real gig. It was kind of like my friends. I would say a real gig, like at a club, and I would say that was uh, probably around around then, around 91, about that area. That's about when I started.
How old were you at that point?
I was 17 in 91, turning 18.
Already. So you start playing guitar at 11. How quickly did you get into songwriting?
Oh, immediately.
Okay.
I always loved, even as a kid, I had a little 4-track recorder, and
Okay.
I would always just sit there and, with the tape.
Well, I still have mine.
Oh, yeah, oh my gosh.
Tascam.
I went through them. I would sit there and record nonstop, as a kid. I
Yeah.
remember it'd be snowing outside. I'd just be in
Yeah.
with the 4-track.
Would you do like a riff tape? You like coming up with riffs and you put it down on tape?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would do that. I would write songs and then play solos to them. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Then I had a drum machine that was real cheesy, but I'd
Mhm.
put that on a track, and play it.
You're not you have a 4-track. People who don't know what 4-tracks are, there was a time where we had limitations in our recording. Okay, there was a time like the 1-track was the first recorder.
Right.
The 1-track was the realistic or the Panasonic tape recorder you got at Mailman's or whatever.
I did that too.
Then there was the 1-track, then the 4-track, and the 4-track limitations with that as well. But it's like we didn't see it as limitations because there were 4 tracks. But anyway,
I used to record the one tape machine. I'd hit record. And
the drum machine was absolutely necessary because it'd be stupid. It'd be stupid to try to record drums. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
if all you have is 4 tracks, so yeah. So these were the your earliest influences were at. Who were your earliest influences, guitar wise?
Well, I would say growing up in the 70s and the 80s as a kid, Black Sabbath, Tony Iommi was, that Metallica, that was the Metallica era, from the 80s. I really liked that. Alex Skolnick, I really liked. He had a classical and a funk background,
Jazz. More recently, jazz.
Yeah. I saw him live, and I saw him live when I was 14, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wanted to play.
I'm a little older than you. Like, he came around when I was in college.
Right.
Testament came around when I was. In other words, I stopped at probably Metallica. You, Alex Skolnick. But he's now, as an adult, he is one of my, like, I really have a lot of respect for the guy because he's not a one-trick pony.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
He's amazing. That's what I like so much about him.
Yeah. He's constantly reinventing himself. Constantly. And yeah.
Playing with Testament too. It's funny.
Huh?
He's still playing with Testament.
Oh yeah, he came back. Yeah. He came back, and then he has his jazz. He has his jazz thing that is not even close to a Testament. Yep. It's not fusion.
Right.
It's not fusion. It's jazz. Though I hear he has a book coming out. A friend of mine tells me that he has a book coming out that's going to revolutionize fusion. The ideas of fusion, where we have Alex Skolnick. He had these 2 different kinds of styles that were his love.
Right.
That instead of just thinking it's rock and jazz, it can encompass so much more. So anyway, so then when did you start? What I guess your first, like, what you would consider a real band was Ninetail?
I would say
or Dungeon.
Well, at the time I thought it was serious, but look back on it, it really wasn't. I would say when I joined a band, Spine Belt, at the time, and they were doing some really big things. I joined them, and I played, like, You
You were
know,
the guitar player, keyboard player.
right? I did both. Yeah, in that
Yeah.
band, and it was different kind of music, but we started playing, and you know, we got to play with some really cool bands. Like we played, I mean, from with Metal Church, if you remember those guys from the '80s,
I
all the
saw
way
them.
up. You know, we played with Marilyn Manson. You know,
Yeah.
we had
And
we
dope.
were a band that could play with all various
Yeah, yeah.
music. Um, but that's where I really started. I would say playing like, you know,
What is your thing now? That's where it's sort of coalesced.
yeah, because I stopped that, then I got, and that's when I joined the band Ninetail, and that's when
You
we
didn't
kind of
join a band, Ninetail.
I started it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't be like this modesty.
Oh,
No, and you had an earlier version of Ninetail too.
right.
That's when I met you. You had the earlier version of Ninetail, and you took it deadly seriously. But
Yeah.
but
Really.
when you had Spine Belt, you went through Spine Belt, and you saw things done a different way, and you came
Yeah.
back to it. Your head was like, okay, we want to do this in a different way.
Yeah.
So that
I at the first version of Ninetail, the biggest show I ever played, I was really nervous. Was I don't know if you remember that band Candiria. You remember them from New
nope,
York?
nope.
They were like rappy, and they had I don't know how to describe them. But I got a little taste of it. But then when I joined Spine Belt, I really they were playing,
Quite a bit opening.
yeah, really good shows and really good gigs, and that kind of, you know, like we played a lot with the band Dope, if you remember them.
No.
Um, you know, tons of really cool shows, and I really liked it. You
Yeah.
know, um, and then I started the other version of Ninetail, and then we started pursuing that. And
So the other version of Ninetail was two guitars, bass, drums, lead vocalist, and a
right,
keyboard player.
yeah,
Keyboard player
yeah, the second version of Ninetail,
and the keyboard player.
the keyboard player, we were
Yep.
a 6-piece, yeah.
Yeah. And that was the thing that your creative stamp kind of like you got signed and yeah.
Toured everywhere, and
You were
played.
gone. We were friends at that point, and you were gone months at a time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We played just about every state in the U.S.
Yeah.
at that point.
So
But
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So now, okay, so tell us how you mentioned your 4-track when you were a kid. How did you level up? How did you get into this business of so where I'm going with this is all the musicians that I respect, they have a second instrument that is absolutely central to their, especially the professional musicians, that is central to their success. And that second instrument, at least a second instrument, like a digital audio workstation, which is the recording end of it. They all have a setup. Every one of them is savvy getting into this. The creative process, the final thing within a creative process is being able to record yourself and be able to record others, but
right.
having that vision and having that producer's ear. Okay, so when did you start that whole thing? Tell us that story.
Well, when I was teaching at Campbell's, when we were there together. What I did on the side, um, for a little tiny bit of money, was I would record my son's friends. They'd have bands. You know, they were teenagers, and
Mhm.
they'd give me a little bit of money, and I'd record a record just in my basement for them. And I just had a little bit of gear. I didn't have not a lot of gear at all. Enough to, you know, basically, you know, record what they were doing. And what happened was, I was doing that for a while and learning, and then
Trial
my
and error.
What's that?
Is it a whole trial and error thing? You're
Oh,
mostly a self-studier,
yeah.
mostly, not entirely, but mostly. You have people that have. Go
In
ahead.
the beginning, yeah, in the beginning, I was learning it all myself, and I had some friends that were in the business
Yeah,
that I would always call and bug,
yeah.
to
You're
death.
you're that guy to me.
Oh, dude, it was so confusing and how to do this, how to use you know certain
Yeah.
tools and that, and just learning the lingo of everything. And what happened was the band I was in at the time, we were doing a record, and we had the guitar player from the band Gore. He was going to produce it for us, and it was all set in stone. We were getting ready to record it, and then he ended up passing away. And we had to have an album out, and I just ended up taking it on, and I
Leap
really
of
want.
faith.
What's that?
That was a leap of faith.
Yeah, but I figured if it was my record, I figured if I'm going to experiment on something, I might as well
Be me.
start with mine.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
Else stuff, but and it turned out okay. Um, and I mean, for what it was real raw sounding, but it worked for us, and that kind of got me started in it, the whole thing. And then I
And when
really,
he says okay, it was probably kick ass. It was
I,
you you
I,
see you see your dents. You see the blemishes being,
well, I see. I was learning
on
back.
the job, yeah.
Yeah, so now I would have done things a lot differently than I did
Yeah.
then, but I learned so much, and then that's after that I actually ended up opening my own studio up, and
Which is
which is Equinox, Equinox Music and Art, and I was there for 9 years, and
this was in Dallastown, PA.
yeah,
Originally.
originally. Now I moved up to New Oxford. I am changing the name, uh, kind of starting fresh here. But it over the years I've got to work with some really great people. My buddy Scott Gross from Autumn to Ashes. I learned a lot from him. Worked with me. Jim Annunziato from New York. He
Okay.
was he worked
He's
with
a
Jennifer.
big big mentor for you.
Yeah, I got to see him work, and I actually got a lot of gear from him. He's helped me out immensely through the years, and just got to work with these guys, and I learned so much. And it took me a while, but now I have everything. You know, really good gear.
Mm-hmm.
Helps microphones, and
You're it's still called Equinox Music and Arts.
as of right now, yeah,
Okay.
I'm in the middle of renaming it, and I'm going to be doing a whole advertising thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I figured I'd kind of start fresh out here in New
Okay.
Oxford.
Okay, so now how important okay, so when you started recording people, what did you start with? Who did you start with? When you moved from Campbell's Music to Equinox and recording was to be a big part of your thing. Who were your first clients?
I think one of them was Shane Spiel, the cigar box guy.
Mm-hmm.
I did a record for him. Um, I did oh my gosh, a whole bunch of local artists and lots of rappers.
Yeah. You
Uh,
said the rap paid your bills for a number of years.
oh my gosh, I paid my mortgage for years off rap.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had so many. The thing about Dallastown that was, well, I had a lot of walk-ins right off the street. I never even thought there was that many rappers in Dallastown, but
There's rappers everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they came out of the woodwork. And York, they would all come in, and I had a pretty big clientele over there, you know,
Yeah.
and I was every week. I mean, almost every night I was recording,
That's
so
wonderful. That's
yeah,
wonderful. Your reinvention.
yeah,
Your life has been a thing of reinvention because you're
yeah,
also an educator.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
also an educator. Since I've known you, it has to be some years
Oh yeah, I've been teaching
because you were at Campbell's for 10 years or so.
11. I was there
11.
15 years.
So,
Yeah.
and it's been how many years since you were at Campbell's?
I started Campbell's. When was that? Probably 2001, two,
Okay. Okay. So
2002.
that's 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah. So, okay. So your mentors, okay, let's go real brief. So people took you under in other words, you looked up to people, who is the guy up in New York again?
Jim Annunziato, he's a big producer out there.
Yeah. So he saw something in you and it's like, and you're like, you're there and, you're learning as always, you're learning as you're working, but he's guiding you and he's helping you.
Yeah, I was there with a team of. I was a producer, and I was there with a team of producers. I was one of them,
Mhm.
and you know, just watching those guys work, was just you learn so much
Mhm.
just by watching.
Okay.
And years just being in studios myself, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. All
yeah,
that helps though.
right. Oh yeah.
All that helps. So, okay. So now here's you, you've done classic rock, you've done heavy metal. You're probably the heavy metal guy that people should go to.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
well, you know what I mean? That is the love of your musical life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you know what the sounds, you know the history, you know all that stuff. Okay, you've done hip hop.
Mhm.
Okay, your hip hop must sound a little different.
Um, I mean,
How did you make the beats?
well, I love heavy metal, but that's not my only.
Yeah, yeah.
I love blues. I love even a lot of hip hop has. I mean, there's some hip hop with classical piano in it,
Hmm.
and violins and orchestration,
Yeah.
and but I think after working with people for so long, you just kind of develop. You kind of know what sound they're looking for,
Yeah.
and and I don't know, you just kind of adapt to it.
Okay.
I try not to limit myself to any particular style. I always
Hmm.
try to be open minded to everything.
Yeah.
I love all kinds of music.
Yes. Well, that's the way to be for me. You know,
Yeah,
I'm a mixture of everything. I'm not. If I only had one, like, if I only had one thing, then I would sound only like that one thing.
right.
To me, that's not that.
Man, I wanted to do a polka album. I'd figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you did some of the stuff. You did acoustic music too,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
acoustic kind of
A lot of
psychedelic acoustic kind of a weird, like the
yeah, like Lord of the Rings meets the '60s. I don't
yeah, yeah. Okay,
you
so
know.
here's a question for you: production. What does it mean to be a producer? What is how is your job? What is your job as a producer?
Well, I always look at it as the engineer is the guy that you know runs everything, and the producer is the producer's job. I always looked at it as make sure everything's going smoothly. The idea man, like make sure everybody's singing on key, making sure people are playing on key, and bring ideas to an artist. Like, you know, like if I'm producing something and I hear something, I might say, hey, try this, you know, or, you know, I might be hearing something they're not hearing, or,
Mhm.
you know, because, you know, hearing it for the first time, you know,
You have
I
a
have a
different
different,
set of ears.
yeah, I have a different, you know, totally different set of ears, which I enjoy that a lot. You know,
Mhm.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
So that why do artists need a producer? Why do you think that?
well,
What is the benefit?
I think it's, you know, what I see, you know, it's an outsider, and it's kind of like, you know, I think the producer has several jobs. At least how I do it at my studio
Mhm.
is, I keep track of everything. Uh, you know, what mics are what, and not even stuff that the musicians even are aware of. Like, you know, what number is the mic? You know, kick drums 1, you know, snare 2. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
all
yeah.
that. I keep everything listed and make sure that everything, you know, is organized. Um, number one, and then, you know, talk with the group, and it's almost like a, I don't know, I kind of look at it like a foreman. Not that he's the boss, but he's just kind of keeping things
But
smooth.
you're the outside ear that sometimes people are so close to their creative thing
Right.
that they some they need somebody to let's sift through this. What should we highlight? What should we do? And sometimes the order of things,
Right.
okay? Sometimes
Well,
the order of things.
it could be a simple thing as just an effect, you know,
Yeah.
like that I hear, you know, put some delay on that. It might sound cool, or, you
Yeah.
know, now, you know, some musicians come in that, you know, they're new at playing music, and they don't know what to expect, and you just want
Mhm.
to keep them, you know, you want to keep them relaxed, and you just play music, and we'll take care of everything else, you know, type
Yeah.
thing. But, you know, you give them ideas too that they
Yeah.
might not have ever thought of.
Especially them.
Yeah.
Especially them. But I think everybody, I have people in my life who are there, like creatively speaking, they're there because like we get together. I'm going to run this by you because I'm too close to it.
Right.
And I might be the guy like you says, well, we were my first Ninetail record wasn't that good, you know. But not you didn't say that, but you said it was a little raw. It was probably sick.
Oh,
But you know what I mean? It probably was, but it's like you don't really know because it's your ears. Sometimes your ears are like because a lot of times I have my friend James. He comes over and he says, "No, keep that, or get rid of that and put this in there instead."
right.
Or so that's part of the production is helping with songwriting,
Sure.
helping with arranging, all that kind of business. So, um, how has that changed you as a musician in your own work? Because you're not just a producer.
I think it's helped me in so many ways. As a matter of fact, even when I teach music, I always tell my students, once they get to a certain level, I always tell them, write music. It doesn't mean you have to go out and try to be a rock star, or try to, you know, or play it in front of anybody. Just if you write music, it's almost like you're using the tools that you learned,
Hmm.
you know, and you get to see how, you know, how things are. Like, I think I became a better songwriter just with structuring. Not that everything needs a certain structure, but um, it just helps me, you know, smooth things out, you know, and yeah, it's helped me immensely.
You see, flexing your bigger picture muscles.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes other people have ideas that I mean, there's been songs that I wrote that, you know, they're like, you put this other style of music in there, and I'm like, what? And then it works beautifully, and I end up loving it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
But producers need producers too.
yeah, oh yeah. I think it's always great to have um, an outside opinion. Um, you know, when you're playing, I don't want to be so one sided. You
Mhm.
know, because it's like even in a band setting, I love the fact that having a bass player and a singer, to where if I write a riff, you know, what I'm hearing in my head completely changes by the time it gets to them. You
Yeah.
know, and I always like that. You know, they're putting their takes on it, you know, and it's like,
Mhm.
I never thought of that, you know. Um, so yeah, I'm all about other people, you know, just collaborating and
Yes. Yes. So I want to thank you. Before we go, tell us about what your latest project is.
well,
Your
now
latest.
I play in a project called Gallowglas, and it was only going to be a recording project. I was playing another band called Seraphine, and that was very European sounding.
Male
Like
and female voices.
yeah, we had our female singer Rachel. She was very operatic, and I enjoyed that. That kind of we kind of just separated. There were some issues with some of the band members, you know, or having a rough time. So then my recording project I had, that was just a recording project, was actually the singer from Ninetail, and we had a whole new band,
Hmm.
and that's Gallowglas. And
How
we've
do you
been at
find these musicians?
what's that?
How do you find these musicians?
Well, the other bands, they're from all over the place.
I know.
Like my drummer's from Philly. I actually knew him for years. He's a wonderful drummer. And Jay, I've known forever since the Ninetail days. He
Hmm.
played in other bands, and I kind of stole him.
Yeah, he was the guy we were trying to get for Trike.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, he'd love it. He's actually he's very much a Clutch guy. It's his favorite band that exists.
I would absolutely do something with him.
Oh yeah, and we don't do anything like that.
No,
It's so
I'm
funny.
your
Like,
man. I'm your
yeah,
man.
we'll do something. I love that kind of stuff too.
Yeah,
Very like bluesy, and
yeah.
I love Clutch.
Even if it's a song or two, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll have to do one, man.
Yeah,
He'd love it. He'd
yeah.
love it. That'd be great. That's his baby. But yeah, they just our guitar player used to live by the bass player out of state, and then the bass player moved in state, and then just kind of joined the band. And
Hmm.
so yeah, we're all friends, which is important. And it's about fun.
Yeah.
uh and I realize
Surround
that
yourself with people. Surround yourself with people whose energies
right.
are right for you.
Yeah, I
Because
think that.
I know I can speak for myself that if the energy's not right, then there's no reason.
Well, I think also when you take yourself too seriously, like I would say, like before in my project, we actually Ninetail actually split up because it was too serious. I mean, it was like no holidays. We didn't even have any holidays. We were always traveling, and it almost got to the point where we weren't playing music because we loved it. We got handed a schedule, and we just had a schedule, and it was almost like the fun was gone. It was just, you're playing here, you're playing there, and that's
Hmm.
It just became, I don't know. I played a lot of great, a lot of fun concerts with them, but now it's we can play good concerts and have fun,
Yes.
and not be so
Pick and
serious.
choose.
What's that?
You can pick and choose.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
And
the other thing is, here's the other thing that I've learned as an older man. You don't have to accept every gig.
right.
So you
No,
don't. It's
no.
like, if you have something going on, telling some people no is not wrong, because you can't do everything.
I think when you're younger,
Mhm.
you have these, you envision these thoughts of being like this rock star, and and you see
They're
all
not
the
going to
things
ask me again.
that you like,
Yeah.
and you want to be like that. And then, now I'm just like play on my terms, we play on our terms. We have, as long as we're having fun and making music that we like, that's making it to me,
Yeah.
It really
You are
is.
making it, though.
I'm
You are a
content.
real, no, you are all, and I say this about myself too. We are rock stars. Since I've known you, you've done what you love.
Right.
How many people can say that?
Yeah, we both do music for a
Yeah.
living. That's
Yeah,
what
but we're not only doing music for a living.
we
It's
love
like,
it.
we're not really compromising our stuff.
Right,
We
right,
love what we do. We love what we do. It's like, you're not a hip hop artist, but the
right,
the part of creating that enables you to think in a different way and to create a different kind of uh, tapestry, musical tapestry, that had to be, that's not being a substitute teacher, or that's not teaching marching band.
right, right,
It's not, you know what I mean? It's like, and not that there's anything with marching band people. It's just like,
right.
we're guitar players. We have no business being on the football field. But anyway, all right, Don. So, new business title in the works right now. It is Equinox Music and Arts, and New Oxford, PA, right 5 minutes, 5 miles down the road from Gettysburg. Any style of music you help develop. You help develop with, no matter what it is, acoustic, electric, hip hop, whatever. You've done jingle work, all that. Um, so and see, uh, Gallowglas, is that the name of
Yep.
your band, Gallowglas? Okay, I always think I'm saying it wrong. Is it?
Okay.
I don't know what a Gallowglas is, but anyway.
It was actually a back in the day when Scotland was fighting England. They put these clans together, and they took all the warriors out of the clans, and they formed the Gallowglas clan.
Okay, so they're the guys that kick ass.
I'm a big history buff too,
I
so
know. I was saying, so am I, but I'm also a pansy. Last fight I was in, I was 16 years old. So anyway, thank you for this. Thank you for this. Um, Thank you, Don. And I will see you all next time around, talking about studio, talking about rock band podcast, talk about creating music, talking about learning as we do, what we do, when we do. See ya.